Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 3 of What If Naruto Was Madara's grandson. If you guys enjoyed this what if, and want to see part 4 of it, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. And also check out What If Naruto Was the Descendant of Shao Kahn, that I have uploaded earlier today. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, and like this video, and share this video with your friends. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. So let's start this video. The past few days flew by with Kurenai's team. They would train in the morning and do a couple of missions in the afternoon. Obviously, Naruto always complained since Naruto wanted to test his skills in the real world, but Hinata was always present to bonk him in the head. Who would have thought that of the little shy Hinata? Kurenai was very surprised with the skill level that Naruto and Hinata displayed. But she had to judge the Kyuubi nailed it by saying they had Jonin level skills. Their team was in fact comprised by one Jonin sensei, two green Jonins and a poor Genin lost in the middle. Naruto, Hinata and Kurenai would never leave Shino behind, so they began focusing more on him, so he could be brought up to speed. Naruto, with the help of Kurenai, started on cage level exercises for his chakra control. He had two exercises that he needed to do to bring his control to the highest level possible. The first was waterfall climbing. This exercise allowed, when mastered, the user to control vast amounts of chakra with great precision, since climbing a waterfall is extremely hard. The last exercise allowed one to have perfect chakra control, almost rivaling Tsunade the Slug Saanin. This particular exercise was rather practical to perform. The user deposited a chunk of sand with multiple colors in his hand. The point of the exercise was to separate and align the sand by color, using only chakra. It was considered mastered when the user managed this in less than 10 seconds. Hinata didn't have any weakness per se, she had overall good skills, whether it be in taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu or even kenjutsu. Her chakra control was flawless since it was a basic requirement for her gentle fist, or her own version the flowing fist. Shino, however, was another different level. His taijutsu was low genin level since he was a long-range fighter, their typical weakness. His ninjutsu was the three basic academy jutsus coupled with his clans. His genjutsu was non-existent. Overall, he was about mid-genin in skill. However, they would change that. Naruto placed a few restriction seals on him, since it was too abrupt if he started using gravity seals. They decided to start his elemental training, since everyone on his team already had theirs mastered. Surprisingly, he had earth and water, both defensive elements. His team was the perfect storm of offense and defense. In fact, his nature served him well above anyone else. As a long-range fighter, normally his weakness would be close combat, which was solved by his training and affinities. Along with all this training, they also did teamwork exercises. One of the things that made Konoha as the strongest in the elemental nations was their notion of teamwork and loyalty above all else. Their teamwork was excellent, neither of them had any problems with each other. Currently we find teammate or Team Kurenai heading towards the Hokage's office after a morning of training. I should clarify the last statement, it was training for Naruto, Hinata, and Kurenai, but for Shino one would call it torture. The poor Genin was driven to the ground in order to gain the physical attributes he needed. Hokage's mission assignment room. The old Hokage was sitting in the middle of the table smoking on his pipe while handing missions to the shinobi. To his left side was Iruka, the school teacher of the students of Team 8. The Hokage was deep in thought, remembering his prime, the thrill of the fights, and the adrenaline pumping through his system. Not many shinobi have the privilege of growing old. The shinobi's life expectancy was actually around 30 years, and reaching old age was very rare. However, any shinobi that reached such age began to reminisce all they did in their life. Shinobi since birth are trained to fight, and fight they do. It is all they know throughout their lives. There is no greater death than death at the hands of your enemy in the midst of battle. However, being taken by old age, it isn't something any warrior would want. Here's in Sarutobi, third Hokage of Konoha and hailed Hashinobi no Kami, god of shinobi, the man that had seen two great ninja wars, and lived has been reduced to nothing but a paper pusher. Don't get me wrong, he loved his village and his place as Hokage, but his time was nearing its end. It was time to pass his hat, and have the younger generation assume his place. He was snapped out of his thoughts when he saw teammate walking through the door. It always brought a smile to his face seeing Naruto and even Hinata. He was like a grandfather to both of them since Hinata was expelled by her father. He didn't know why, but Naruto's smile always managed to cheer him up, no matter how depressed the man was. Naruto was, for lack of a better word, a bundle of happiness. It surprised him how, despite the glares and hatred he received, Naruto managed to keep a cheerful and loving personality. Teammate reporting for mission, Hokage Sama Kurenai sat bowing to the Hokage. Even though the Hokage was clearly old, he still was a very powerful shinobi, and one of the strongest in the Leaf Village. Teammate, welcome. Let's see what we got here, the Hokage said, receiving the D-rank mission scrolls from Iruka. We have cleaning Inuzuka's kernel, capturing Tor, helping an old lady move to a new house. The Hokage never managed to finish. Old man will take catching Tor, Naruto said, smirking. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. No one liked chasing that damned cat, and Naruto already done it in the past. Are you serious, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, not really in the mood for running after a damn cat. What people don't know is that Tora is actually a ninja cat trained specifically for helping Genin teams with their teamwork. Yes, trust me, Naruto replied, picking up the mission scroll. Hey old man, what is the record for catching Tora? Naruto asked with a knowing grin. I think it's around 3 hours, but why do you ask? Do you intend to break it? The Hokage asked. Something like that, Naruto replied. He went back to middle of the room and took a small scroll from his pocket. He unrolled the scroll to show a small intricate seal in it. He placed it on the ground. Naruto bit his thumb, drawing blood, and slammed it in the seal, saying summoning jutsu. There was a poof of smoke. When the smoke cleared, in the middle of the scroll was Tora. The Hokage's eyes almost popped out of his sockets, and Naruto just laughed at everyone's expression. Mission accomplished, Hokage-sama, and I believe it's a new record, Naruto said, laughing his ass off and delivering the cat to the Hokage. How did you do that, Naruto? Kurenai asked. Even she had to chase that damn cat in her Genin days. I already had to chase her a few times in the past, and somewhere along the way I got tired and placed a summoning seal in the cat. So, I just offer a bit of blood and chakra, and I can summon Tora through the seal on this scroll, Naruto explained, and the Hokage and Kurenai just nodded dumbly. Kurenai-sensei, since I already got Tora and set the record for about 15 seconds, do you want another mission? Naruto asked. Kurenai didn't have time to answer as suddenly there was a puff of smoke in the Hokage's desk, revealing a small dog. He had brown fur, and wore a Konoha Hayate around his head. A dog? Naruto asked, wondering who it was from. This is Pakin, a messenger and tracking dog from Kakashi, the Hokage explained. Hokage-sama, I have a message from Kakashi, Pakin said, handing the Hokage the scroll. The Hokage opened and it said, Hokage-sama. A client, Tazuna, lied about the mission parameters. It appears that the wave is under Gato's control, and he wants Tazuna dead. We were attacked by the demon brothers Gozu and Mizu of Kurikakuri, and we defeated them. We decided to continue. However, I request backup, since most likely we will be attacked again, this time probably by Jonin level missing ninja. Hatake Kakashi, Jonin sensei of Team 7. Team 8, the Hokage started getting their attention. It appears that the C-rank mission I sent them 7-2 was bumped into a low A rank. Kakashi requested backup, so I'm sending you. He will explain everything when you meet with him. Dismissed. Yes, teammate said. Okay team, go home and get your supplies, meet me at North Gate in 1 hour. Kurenai said. They all left the room and went to prepare for their first A rank. North Gate 1 hour later. 1 hour later, teammate gathered in the North Gate getting ready for departure. Kurenai inspected everyone's supplies as it was the duty for a Jonin sensei. Okay, team, before we depart, everyone has their supplies. Kunai, shuriken, food, first aid kit, soldier pills, Kurenai asked and got nod from everyone. Since we will be traveling at high speeds, we'll reach Team 7 in a couple of hours. However, we don't know which route Kakashi took, so we will be taking the main one, Kurenai said. No need, sensei. Do you still have the message Kakashi sent? Naruto asked. Yes, I do. Why? Kurenai asked, wondering what good it would do. Naruto bit his left thumb, drawing blood and spreading across his right hand palm. He went through a few hand seals, boar, dog, bird, monkey, ram, and slammed his hand on the ground and said, summoning technique. There was a poof of smoke, and when it cleared, in front of him stood a medium-sized brown fox with 5 tails. Flashback. Hey kid, come into the seal, I want to talk to you, the Kyuubi said. Naruto was currently 10 years old. He sat on the ground in the lotus position and started meditating. After a few seconds, Naruto stood in front of the Kyuubi of was currently laying on the ground beneath a large tree. You need something, Kurama? Naruto asked. Actually, Kurama was the Kyuubi real name. It appears that young Naruto grew on the Kyuubi, and he trusted him with his name. I'm giving you a birthday present, Kurama said, smirking. Is it a big flashy jutsu? Naruto asked, excited. During Naruto's birthday, October 10th, Konoha always celebrated the Kyuubi defeat by the 4th Hokage. Some of the villagers would gather up and try to harm Naruto, so his birthdays were always a dark day for Naruto, but the Kyuubi, Hinata and the Hokage always managed to cheer him up. It's a great technique and you will be the first to use it. I trust you will use it wisely, Kurama said, and in front of him materialized a rather big scroll. This is the summoning contract for the Fox clan. Open it and write your name in blood in the first slot, Kurama explained. Naruto did as he was told. He opened the scroll and bit his thumb. He wrote his name in the first slot and pressed all 5 fingers down, making a handprint. Now, to summon a fox to help you bit your thumb and go through these hand seals, boar, dog, bird, monkey, ram, and pour chakra into the technique. Give it a try, Kurama explained. Naruto did the technique, and when it was over, in front of him stood a small fox. Thanks, Kurama, you're the best, Naruto said. Of course I am. I'm the 9-tailed fox, king of the Bijuu's strongest being in the world, Kurama boasted about himself. You still have that stick up your ass, Naruto said, laughing, while dodging the Kyuubi tails that were trying to smash him. Then flashback. Naruto, you need help? The fox asked. Yes, Kinto, we need to track Kakashi-sensei to provide backup. This paper has his scent, Naruto said, and gave the paper to Kinto, so he could track him. I have him, when you are ready, Kinto said, and teammate dashed out of Konoha heading towards Team 7. I didn't know you could summon Naruto, Kurenai said. I have the fox summoning contract. It was a gift from the Kyuubi, Naruto explained, getting a nod from Kurenai. She didn't want to pry too much. Few hours later, with Team 7. Team 7 had just left the boat that they used to cross into the wave. Everyone was walking at civilian pace since they had Tazuna with them. Tazuna was, as he put, a super amazing bridge builder. They were traveling in diamond formation, Sasuke in front, Sakura and Kiba to the sides, and Kakashi in the back with Tazuna in the middle of them. They were walking calmly, but they had their guard up since Kakashi warned them about a possible Jonin encounter. Suddenly Kiba sensed someone in the bush and quickly picked and threw kunai into it. Baka, stop applying with kunai, Sakura yelled. I'm not playing, I thought someone was there, Kiba replied, and went to check the bush only to find a small white rabbit. Kiba, you idiot, you almost killed this poor rabbit, Sakura said, and that sent Kakashi thinking. White fur on spring, that's strange, unless what was used as a substitution technique. Get down, Kakashi yelled, and everybody hit the deck with Kakashi dragging Tazuna. Just as he yelled above them, a huge broad metal sword flew by their heads and got stuck in a tree. Moments later, on top of the sword appeared a person. He was a tall and noticeably muscular man with pale skin, short spiky black hair, brown eyes, and small eyebrows. He was wearing bandages like a mask over the bottom half of his face. Under his mask, he had a relatively narrow jawline and jagged teeth. He wore his forehead protector sideways on his head. What's this? A bunch of kids playing ninja, the shinobi said. Mamachi Zabuza, a rank missing nin from Kirigakure known as Demon of Kirigakure, Miss Village, Kakashi said, preparing to face him in battle. Oh, look, if it isn't Sharingan no Kakashi, the shinobi now identified as Zabuza said. Just hand me the old man and you can go. You know I can't do that, Zabuza, Kakashi said, and lifted his Hayate, revealing a fully matured Sharingan in his left eye. I get the Sharingan right in the beginning, I'm honored, Zabuza said, removing his sword and making a few hand seals. He said, Mist technique. The air started becoming thicker, and after a few seconds the whole area was covered in a thick mist. Kakashi barely managed to see his own hands right in front of him. Team, keep your senses sharp. Zabuza is a master of the silent killing technique, Kakashi said, and his entire team shivered. I demand you show your face, Zabuza, and face me, Sasuke yelled. A Jonin was someone he could try his power on, and once he defeated him, he would be closer to killing his brother. Are you serious? Zabuza asked, rhetorically projecting his voice around the area, not to reveal his position. Zabuza started unleashing killer intent and Sasuke started shivering. Sasuke couldn't take it anymore, and brought his kunai to his neck, preparing to kill himself. Relax, Sasuke, I would let my teammates die, Kakashi said, reassuring his team. Suddenly Zabuza appeared in the middle of Sasuke, Kiba and Sakura that were guarding Tazuna. He brought his sword and started a horizontal slash, ready to kill them all. However, Kakashi was faster and impaled Zabuza, revealing him to be a water clone. Another Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi and cleaved him in half, only to Kakashi burst into water. Zabuza, seeing this, suddenly felt sharp metal to his throat. He slowly turned and saw Kakashi with a kunai ready to kill him. However, Kakashi wasn't expecting this Zabuza to be a clone. Seeing the Zabuza in front of him burst into water, he looked around only to be met with a fierce kick to his stomach, sending him crashing into a nearby lake. Zabuza shunshine to Kakashi, and went through a couple of hand seals and set water prison. The water around Kakashi started to erupt, and circled around him, trapping him. Zabuza stood there with his hand on the water sphere, holding Kakashi in place. Shit, I got caught, Kakashi thought. Everyone, take Tazuna and run. His water clone can't go too far from the original, Kakashi said. His team was in a bad place, he could only hope his backup arrived in time. Zabuza can't stand up to me, I'm an elite, Sasuke said, and dashed forward, heading to the enemy. Zabuza created a few water clone. Sasuke engaged in a taijutsu fight with him, but quickly realized it was a bad idea. Sasuke couldn't keep up with Zabuza's speed and strength. The battle was over quickly, when Zabuza gave a strong kick to Sasuke, that sent him crashing to the trees hard. Sasuke couldn't even get up, and could barely breathe. You should have run when you had to change. You can't even scratch me, Zabuza said. The arrogance of that boy got him killed. Zabuza clone picked his sword, and went to finish the job. Sakura was shaking, she barely managed to stand up, and Tazuna was already on the floor, his legs gave out. Kiba, seeing Sasuke in danger, ran towards Zabuza. Sasuke may be an idiot and an arrogant bastard, but he couldn't let him be killed. Kiba, arriving near Zabuza, went for punch, but Zabuza simply caught his wrist, and with the other hand lifted Kiba by the neck, and started punching him relentlessly. After a few punches he simply threw him to the ground. Zabuza was making his way to Sakura, who was still frozen in place. Sakura knew she couldn't match Zabuza. She only graduated because of her good chakra control and book smarts. All hope seemed lost until Zabuza heard. Fire style. Dragon fire techniques. Zabuza didn't have time to dodge as a stream of hot fire came from the woods, completely obliterating the clone. In front of Tazuna and Sakura arrived Naruto, Hinata, Shino and Kurenai. Naruto looked around and it didn't look good. Kakashi was trapped inside water prison, and Sasuke and Kiba were on the ground injured. Quick gather Sasuke and Kiba round Tazuna and Sakura. Naruto said, and Kurenai and Hinata quickly picked up both Sasuke and Kiba and regrouped in Tazuna. Summoning jutsu, Naruto said, slamming his hand on the ground, and in a poof of smoke, appeared a small fox with light red fur with 4 tails. You must be our summoner, Naruto-sama. My name is Kagura, a medic fox, the fox said. Nice to meet you, I need your help. Sasuke and Kiba seem injured, I need you to help them as you can. I'll cover you, Naruto said. Fox summons, where did he get the contract? I need to talk to him if we get out of this, Kakashi thought. Kakashi actually already knew Naruto since he sometimes watched Naruto from afar, trying to make sure he was safe. After all, Kakashi was one of the prized students of 4th Hokage. Shadow clone jutsu, Naruto said, and 4 clones appeared. They went their separate ways, making a square around Tazuna, Sakura, Sasuke, Kiba and Kagura. Ninja art. 4 flames formation, the clones said at the same time. Suddenly a purple barrier erupted around them, making sure that Zabuza couldn't get inside. The same type of barrier the Sound 4 used during Leaf Invasion. Don't touch the walls, otherwise you will get burned. The barrier will stay up for your protection, Naruto explained. Oh, again in who knows Fuinjutsu. Maybe you are better than the rest, Zabuza said, creating couple more water clone. Inside the barrier both Sakura and Tazuna sighed happy that backup had arrived. Kagura was currently healing them. Sasuke had cracked ribs and ruptured lung, while Kiba had a few bruises and dislocated shoulder. Outside the barrier, first we need to release Kakashi from the prison, Kurenai said, and her team nodded. The water clone made their way towards Kurenai's team, and one of them said, hidden mist jutsu, a thick mist appeared blocking the view of everyone. Hinata activated her Byakugan, but couldn't see much as the mist was laced with chakra. Naruto activated his Sharingan, and extended his senses trying to find Zabuza, however he felt the presence of someone watching the fight. That person was around Chunin's skill based on chakra levels. Someone is watching, since he didn't help Tazuna I can only assume he's with Zabuza, Naruto thought, and discreetly using hand signs warned his team about another shinobi watching. Blind style. Great breakthrough, Naruto and Hinata said at the same time. They breathed in air and sent a strong gust of wind to push the mist away, completely making Zabuza frown. Each member of Team 8 separated and engaged in the clones. Naruto quickly destroyed Zabuza's clone with a fireball, and taking this opportunity he took a kunai, charging it with lightning chakra. He threw it at the woods with extreme speed. The shinobi who was watching didn't expect that and didn't have time to react, and the kunai embedded deeply in his shoulder. The shinobi, seeing he was caught, jumped into the fight and took his side by Zabuza. How did you know about Haku? Zabuza asked, surprised that they found Haku. She was rather skilled in stealth. We are a team of trackers. I'm a sensor, so when you used your hidden mist jutsu I extended my senses and found him, Naruto explained. It doesn't matter, let's end it now, Zabuza said, and Haku went through a few hand signs. Slamming her feet into the lake she said, 1,000 needles of death, and sent 1,000 water needles towards teammate. Hinata, Naruto said just above a whisper. Yes, she replied and jumped in front of her team and started spinning. She started releasing chakra from all of her chakra points. Heavenly spin, she said, and a blue dome of chakra appeared around her, deflecting all the needles. Looks like I'll have to start training my team seriously, thought Kakashi. He was infusing his lungs with chakra, trying to gain as much time as he could. Teammate quickly dispatched of the water clone. Naruto and Hinata went through a few hand signs and they said, Fire style. Dragon fire technique, Naruto said. Blind style. Great breakthrough, Hinata said. Naruto fire attack combined with Hinata's wind attack, and the result was a massive stream of fire that went quickly towards Zabuza. Haku didn't have enough time to use water jutsu because of her injured shoulder. Both of them jumped away, making Zabuza release his hold of the water prison, freeing Kakashi. Kakashi tried to regain his breath as he jumped towards teammate. Thanks, Kakashi said and crouched. Haku, we are leaving, Zabuza said, and shined away with Haku. He knew he wouldn't stand a chance. He was up against Yuhi Kurenai, Konoha's Genjutsu mistress, but also the blonde kid and the Hyuga girl seemed good, and besides that Kakashi was now free. Naruto dropped the barrier and went to check up on his injured teammates. How is everyone? Naruto asked Kagura, who was finishing healing Kiba. Sakura was surprised how strong Naruto and Hinata were, and how they worked well together. I already healed them. Their injuries weren't life-threatening. This one, Kagura said, pointing to Sasuke, needs to take it easy for a few days. He had a ruptured lung. Tazuna, take us to your house. Zabuza will be back, and we need to be prepared, Kakashi said. And they left with Kurenai carrying Sasuke as he couldn't make any effort and was still unconscious. Tazuna's house. A few miles down the road and Team 7 and 8 arrived with Tazuna at his house. The house itself was near the ocean, and seemed a simple wooden house. Tazuna let the shinobi inside. "Tsunami, I'm home," Tazuna said, happy that finally got home. Father, Tsunami said, hugging him. "I'm relieved that you are alright." Tsunami was a very beautiful woman. She had mid-back dark blue hair and black eyes. She wore pink shirt with red sleeves and dark blue skirt. "It's thanks to these shinobi. They saved me," Tazuna said. Tsunami approached his protective detail and bowed, saying, "Thank you for protecting my father, Shinobi-san. You are welcome to our house. We appreciate it." "Is there anywhere we can lay 2 of my students who got injured in a fight?" Kakashi asked. Tsunami nodded and led the leader Jonin to the rooms upstairs. "Sakura," Kakashi said, getting her attention, "tomorrow we will start training more seriously. We need to be prepared for when Zabuza returns. Since Naruto injured his teammate, it will be a few days until he's ready." "How come a little bit of training is going to help against a Jonin?" Sakura asked, wondering as her sensei was trying to kill her. "Sakura, who was it that saved us?" Kakashi asked rhetorically. "If I remember correctly, the Genin of Team 8 actually put up a fight against Zabuza, while Kiba and Sasuke were simply hammered away," Kakashi explained, making Kurenai smirk inwardly. "Fine, but I still don't understand how a few days will help us," Sakura kept pressing. "Any training is good for you. If you have to face Zabuza, at least let's raise the odds even if slightly," Kakashi said, to which Sakura finally nodded. Kakashi get up and approached Naruto, who was chatting with his team. "Naruto," Kakashi said, getting Naruto's attention. "How do you know my name?" Naruto asked. "You may not know, but I actually watched over you sometimes when you were around 4 years old," Kakashi said. "Dog?" Naruto asked, remembering an Anbu with a dog mask sometimes helping him with the mob's problems before he met his father and the whole training began. "That I am," he replied, giving his traditional eyes smile. "Come," Kakashi said, placing his hand on his shoulder, "we need to talk privately." Naruto nodded and they both shunshined outside of the house into a nearby woods. Naruto and Kakashi in the woods. Kakashi and Naruto arrived in the woods via the traditional leaf shunshin that Kakashi used. "That shunshin, it's really starting to get old. Why don't you use an elemental shunshin?" Naruto asked. "Pretty much all of Konoha always used the leaf shunshin, and well, it got the job done. It was, for lack of a better word, lame." Kakashi raised an eyebrow to what Naruto just asked. "Can you do the shunshin?" he asked, to which Naruto nodded and used his lightning shunshin to teleport to a few meters away. Kakashi was actually surprised to see a Genin use the shunshin no jutsu, much less an elemental version. "I see you can," Kakashi started, "and by the looks of it, you already have the lightning element mastered. How?" Naruto studied the man for a moment. Even though he helped him several times when he was young, people tend to change. After a few seconds he found no deception. He decided to answer him. "I've been training myself since I was 5 years old," Naruto replied, and Kakashi was actually surprised to see someone without a clan training in such a young age. However, he quickly remembered his burden, and he needed to be strong to withstand all the hate of his village. "I see, maybe I can teach a few lightning jutsus since my affinity is the same, but we are getting off topic here." Kakashi started. "How can you summon foxes?" Kakashi asked. Naruto froze, wondering if he should tell him the truth about the Kyuubi. There are many people that tried to get close to Naruto to finish him off, however he decided he should trust him. "It was a gift from the Kyuubi," Naruto said, making Kakashi glare at him. Suddenly the air between the two dropped a few degrees. Naruto, Kakashi started in a very serious tone, however Naruto didn't even flinch. He was already used to it from the villagers and simply shrugged it off. "The Kyuubi attacked our village and almost destroyed it. You cannot trust him." Naruto, hearing this, really started cursing his luck. It was always the same. Every time he met someone and told about the Kyuubi, everyone told him that him couldn't be trusted. "Kakashi-san, the Kyuubi was being controlled by the Sharingan, and was forced to attack the village. It wasn't his fault," Naruto said, and Kakashi's visible eye widened. "Only Uchiha Madara managed to control the Kyuubi, and he was long dead." Kakashi studied Naruto for any signs of lies but found none. However, he decided that he should talk to the Hokage about this new development. "Better make sure. I'll trust you, but keep in mind that foxes are very cunning," Kakashi said. "Kakashi-san, remember that if it weren't for the medical fox I summoned, Sasuke probably wouldn't have made it." Naruto stressed, and Kakashi nodded, seeing it was probably true. "You remember me of the 4th Hokage, always seeing good in everyone," Kakashi said, reminiscing about his Genin days where he was always a fool, until his best friend died to save him. "4th Hokage?" Naruto asked, wondering how Kakashi knew him until it finally clicked. One of the days Naruto was wandering through the Namikaze compound, he found a picture of his father's Genin team. There was a silver-haired boy with mask covering bottom half of his face, a pretty girl with brown hair and 2 red marks on each cheek, and lastly a boy with black spiky hair, black eyes and orange goggles. Naruto turned the picture and it said Namikaze Minato, Hokage Kakashi, Inizuka Rin, Uchiha Obito. "Ah!" Naruto yelled, making Kakashi jump. "I remember now. You were on my father's Genin team with Rin and Obito, right? He asked. That's right. Your father, Kakashi said, stuttering. Naruto was the son of the fourth Hokage. How could he be so blind? For the love of God, he's pretty much a carbon copy of him. How the hell is Konoha been so blind? He should have been there for his sensei's son. He should have done more. Oh shit, Naruto said, knowing that he let that part slip up. Naruto started panicking on the inside. It wasn't supposed to reveal it yet. Kakashi-san, you can't tell anyone until I reveal it, Naruto said. Don't worry, I know very well why you can't say it right now, Kakashi said, easing the boy's worries. And I'm sorry. I should have been there for you. If I had known, I would have taken you in, Kakashi said with his head down. Don't worry about it. I wasn't so bad. If you had taken me in, I wouldn't have met Hinata-chan, Naruto said. Kakashi perked up and asked Hinata-chan. Hinata's father disavowed her from the Hyuga clan when she was 8 years old because she was weak, and since then she has been living with me. Besides, she's my girlfriend, Naruto explained, and Kakashi actually broke out in a fit of giggles. If you are thinking what I think you are, I'm going to hurt you, Naruto said, breaking Kakashi of his perverted thoughts. Okay. But she will be a stunning girl in a couple of years. You did well snatching her while young, Kakashi said, and Naruto growled, to which the Jonin simply ruffled his hair. Actually, I was wondering if you could tell me about my parents, Naruto asked shyly. I asked Hokage Jiji, but he never had really prolonged contact with them. Of course. I knew them very well. For starters, I can tell you that you adopted your mother's obsession for Raymond, Kakashi said, laughing and getting a smile from Naruto. And so, they talked for a few hours. Kakashi told everything he knew about them, which was most about his father, since he knew him better than his mother. They talked and the hours were passing by without either of them realizing it until the sky was already dark. Well, Naruto, I think it's time we get back. It's already getting dark, Kakashi said. Thank you for telling me about them, brother, Naruto said, feeling like he bonded with Kakashi. After all, since Kakashi's father's death, he grew close to his sensei. The fourth Hokage was the closest thing he had for a father. Brother, you say? Okay, let's go, younger brother, Kakashi said, ruffling his hair and leaving the forest with him. Next day. The next day after the teams arrived, we find everyone quietly enjoying breakfast prepared by Tsunami. They were eating until Kakashi decided to break the ice and explain a few things. Everyone, Kakashi said, getting everyone's attention. After this we are going to train, as I explained to Sakura yesterday. Zabuza will be back and probably bring some help, so we need to be ready. We will alternate between protecting Tazuna at the bridge, protecting his family and training, Kakashi explained, and everybody nodded. They continued eating for a few minutes until everyone was finished. Sasuke was already getting better from his injuries and could walk, however he still couldn't do anything too physically stressful to the body. Sakura, Sasuke, Kiba, Naruto and Hinata will come with me to train, while Kurenai and Shino stay and protect Tsunami and Inari. After the train I'll take some of you to the bridge to protect Tazuna. Everybody agree? Kakashi asked and everyone nodded. A few minutes later, Kakashi's team accompanied by Sasuke and Kiba left the house for training. In the woods for training. Okay, now we will train chakra control, Kakashi said. Chakra control? Sakura asked. Yes, we all know how to call upon chakra, however you don't know how to properly use and manage it. By doing this exercise you will be able to last longer in fights, and learn new jutsu faster, Kakashi explained, and Naruto wondered what type of exercise it would be. Now I'll be climbing trees, Kakashi said, and Naruto's sweat dropped. Kakashi, brother, don't tell me you brought your team into an A-rank mission without even teaching them proper chakra control. Naruto asked, and Kakashi actually felt ashamed of not teaching more personal skills. Don't sweat it, dope, we already know how to climb trees, Sasuke said, and Sakura agreed. Naruto just shook his head, knowing that Sasuke didn't understand the point of the exercise. Actually, I focus more on teamwork exercises. You know how Sasuke and Kiba act. They are both brash and tend to jump into situations without thinking, Kakashi said, and both Sasuke and Kiba scowled. Wait, you called Kakashi sensei brother? I thought you had no one, Sasuke asked. He's not actually my brother by blood, but we are both orphans and we both look at the same person as our father, Naruto explained, and Hinata raised an eyebrow. She knew who Naruto's father was, which means that Kakashi must have been close to the fourth Hokage. Enough chit-chat. What I want you to do is focus chakra to the bottom of your feet and walk up the trees. When you can walk to the top 2 times in a row we'll move on, Kakashi explained. What do you mean walk up the trees? Sakura asked in all her infinite wisdom. Like this, Naruto said, and started walking towards a tree. When he arrived near one, he simply placed a feet in its trunk and started walking up. Everyone in Team 7 minus Kakashi was shocked seeing Naruto walking vertically. Oh, Naruto, you already know this chakra exercise very well, Kakashi, and Sasuke seethed his teeth. Dope, how did you do that? I demand you teach me, Sasuke, and Naruto just ignored him. He already knew Sasuke all too well from the academy. Sasuke believed everyone should be grateful that he allowed them to breathe. Didn't you hear your sensei? Naruto asked rhetorically. You need to channel chakra to your feet and run up the tree. Exactly, take these kunai to mark your progress. Hinata, I assume you already know how to do this? Kakashi asked and Hinata nodded. Hinata-chan, watch me. I'll get this down in 1 hour, Kiba said, bragging to her. Kiba, I already told you that I'm with Naruto-kun. If you opened your eyes, you would see that there are other girls that may like you, Hinata said, and Kiba frowned. Maybe she was right. Team, get started. Naruto, Hinata, you are coming with me to the bridge, Kakashi said, and they nodded and started walking to the bridge to protect Izuna. You never know if Zabuza would try a sneak attack. At the bridge, everyone in the bridge was peacefully working. It was a bright sunny day, and the air itself was rather warm due to the ocean's breeze. Kakashi was reading his traditional orange book and giggling like a crazy person. Naruto just sweat dropped when he saw him pull that book. Hinata was simply leaning in the bridge watching the ocean, and Naruto appeared to be working on something. Kakashi raised an eyebrow and decided to know what he was doing. Hey younger brother, what are you doing? Kakashi asked, getting Naruto attention. The blonde had both hand palms slightly apart from each other, and he appeared to channeling lightning chakra between them. By working on a jutsu I'm creating. If it works it will pack quite a bang, Naruto said, grinning, and Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Naruto reminded him of himself when he was young. After all, he graduated as Jonin when he was 13 years old and had already created his own jutsu. That's not easy, you know, Kakashi said. You will never know until I try it, Naruto replied. Naruto decided to take a break and help in the bridge. Hey Tazuna, Naruto yelled, getting the old man's attention. I'm tired of doing nothing. Can I help? Naruto asked. The more the merrier, Tazuna replied. But before he could continue, Naruto placed his finger in a cross sign and said, Shadow Clone Jutsu, and out came around 100 clones. Kakashi's eyes widened seeing the number of clones the blonde could do. Hinata just shrugged it off as it was a normal scenario when they were training. Okay Tazuna, tell them what to do, Naruto said, and Tazuna just nodded dumbly. And Naruto, how can you make so many? Kakashi asked, still in shock. One side effect of being a Jinchuriki is that you develop massive chakra reserves, Naruto said, and Kakashi glared at him, pointing to Hinata that was nearby. Don't worry, she already knows everything about me, including my legacy, Naruto explained, and Kakashi sighed. The work on the bridge went extremely well with the help of Naruto's shadow clones. If he continued helping, the bridge should be done in 2 weeks. Later that day, Tazuna's house, the group sat down to eat dinner as a young boy came in and shot a disgusted look at the group of ninjas, before declaring how they were all stupid to face Gato, and were just going to die, which Naruto angrily refused was the case. What would you know about pain? I bet you have all lived sheltered lives in that ninja village of yours. You don't know what suffering is, the young boy yelled after Naruto had denied what they were doing was futile. So what? Things are bad, but you know what? I have had it much worse. You still have a mother who loves you and a grandfather, a house to keep you warm and food every night. You don't know what it's like to be hated in your own village for something that is out of your control. You don't know what it's like to be beaten and kicked out of shops and forced to go through the garbage for food. You think your life is bad, fine, but don't just sit around and moan about it, do something about it, fight back, don't be a coward. Kakashi-sensei, I'm going out to clear my head, and with that Naruto stormed out the front door. Hinata got up and quickly followed him. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto's life couldn't have been that bad, right? He has to be lying to get attention, Sakura asked. No, Sakura, everything he said was true. Naruto was kicked out of the orphanage at age 4 and lived on the streets for months before I found him and took him to the Hokage. The Hokage gave Naruto an apartment, but he had to learn everything for himself and was constantly being beaten and kicked out of stores. And that is the watered-down version, Kakashi said, shocking the group in the room. Even Hinata, she was expelled from her own clan when she was 8 years old because her father deemed her too weak and unworthy of being the heiress of the clan. But luckily, they found each other, Kakashi said, and everyone started looking at them in a new light. They were brave kids that didn't back down. Tazuna's house roof. Naruto stormed out of the house and made his way to the roof to gaze upon the dark sky. He needed to forget his previous argument with the spoiled kid. A few moments later, Naruto saw Hinata approaching but said nothing. Hinata made his way towards Naruto and sat beside him, resting her head on his shoulder. Neither of them said anything and continued to look at the stars in a comfortable silence, until Hinata decided to break the ice. You really shouldn't blame him, he's just naive, she said, trying to ease Naruto. It's just we all suffered. Me being a Jinchuriki, you getting expelled from your family, and even Sasuke getting his whole clan killed by his own brother. Compared to us, he has a good life, Naruto replied. It's true we suffered, but not everyone has the strength to move on and forget the pain. If it weren't for you, I would probably still be the same shy, weak girl I was. You were the one that gave me strength. Look at Sasuke, his pain drove to becoming obsessed by revenge, Hinata said. You're unique, Naruto-kun, Hinata continued. People that get to know you pull strength from you. You are my beacon of hope. You just need to be it for this kid too, she said. I'll do my best, Hinata-chan, he replied with a small smile, pulling her closer. Now that I think about our lives, you never took me out on a date, she said. Naruto was caught by surprise by this, but she had a point. In a relationship, it's usual for couples to go on dates. I never really thought about it, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. We could use the time we have here away from hateful glares of Konoha. How about tomorrow I take to dinner? Naruto replied with smirk. I would love to, she said, giving a kiss on the cheek and dragging him inside as Naruto has calmed down. Next day 7 p.m. The next day, after they set up their date, went by normally. Everyone trained with Kakashi and Kurenai, however both Naruto and Hinata trained away from them, since they were more advanced. Today the charge of watching Tazuna on the bridge fell on Kurenai with Team 7, and to say they bored was an understatement. Sasuke actually seemed ready to go on a killing spree, just to pass the time. He wanted to train, but he got stuck with watching Tazuna, a few workers and crap ton of Naruto clones working on the bridge. Sasuke seethed his teeth when he arrived at the bridge and saw all the clones Naruto did. That power should belong to him since he needed that to avenge his clan. It doesn't matter, only an Uchiha can defeat an Uchiha, Sasuke thought. Only if he knew. Currently we find Naruto and Hinata getting ready to go on their first date. They asked for permission to Kakashi and Kurenai since they were on a mission. Neither of them had proper clothes other than their shinobi attire. The only difference was that they left their headbands at home, signifying that they were off service, if one could call it that. They walked through town deciding on where to eat. When they arrived at the center of the town, both of them were shocked. This town was poor. There was people asking for jobs, kids living on the outside, and even the resources the markets had to sell were scarce and of very poor quality. Gato had pretty much destroyed this small town. At least if their mission was successful and Tazuna managed to finish the bridge, they would be able to recover from this. Not how they decided to spend their first date, but they already loved each other. This date wasn't much. They were walking watching the various shops and restaurants trying to pick a good place when they heard some yelling in the middle of the streets. Quick, old man. We already told you that you need to pay up, one of Gato's men said. There were two guys trying to collect payment from a shop owner who was on the ground looking terrified. But I already paid this month, the shop owner replied. Boss said that you sent more merchandise for shipping, so you need to pay more taxes this month, he said. If you can't pay up, we'll take your wife as payment, he concluded and started physical assault on the man. Naruto and Hinata, seeing this, jumped into action. In a swift motion of punches and a few kicks, Gato's men were running away bruised and bleeding, wondering how the kids managed to do this. Summoning no jutsu, Naruto said, and in a poof of smoke, appeared a small one-tailed black fox. His name was Kyofu, and he was a spy fox that extremely skilled in stealth and information gathering. What you need, Naruto? Kyofu asked. I need you to follow those two men and find where Gato's base is and any other information you can, Naruto explained, and the fox dashed out of sight. Naruto turned to Hinata. Shall we continue? He asked, extending his right arm, which Hinata took and pulled him closer. Finally deciding where to eat, they entered and found the place was welcoming and warm. It wasn't a fancy restaurant, but they didn't care for that. During their lunch they tried to talk, however they already knew everything about each other. It was a rather strange date as most went by in silence, so they simply ate in a comfortable silence. When they left, Naruto decided it was still early, so he decided to drag Hinata to local cinema and watch something. A couple hours later they arrived at Tazuna's house. Their date didn't go that well, but they didn't care. After all, the point of the date was to spend some time together. Since the mission started, it was either training or guarding Tazuna. 1 week later. 1 week had passed and the teams were preparing for the showdown at the bridge. It was a terrifying sight for any civilian to see a shinobi getting ready for a fight. The ground was filled with weaponry, kunes, shuriken, senbon, flash tags, explosive tags, ninja wire, giant shuriken, and even Naruto's sword was out of his storage seal. He decided to carry it in his back since he could need it at any time. Everyone ready? Kakashi asked and everyone nodded. The fox Naruto had sent to gather information and spy on Gato paid off. The fox found out that Zabuza would attack today, since Haku was already healed from her shoulder wound, as was Zabuza from chakra exhaustion. Since Gato plans to betray Zabuza when the fight is over, he may well send someone here. If he does send, they probably won't be shinobi, Kakashi said, and brought his hand to his chin, and started pondering who to stay back, keeping in mind that he would face Zabuza and Haku. How about we leave Sakura, Hinata and Kiba here, since they have good taijutsu, and they can easily take out any thugs Gato sends. The rest will go to the bridge. I can engage on Haku with Sasuke if necessary. Kakashi-sensei and Kurenai-sensei can take Zabuza, while Shino provides overall support and protects the client, Naruto suggested. Kakashi pondered. Shino will in a tight spot if either Zabuza or Haku split past us, and rush the target, Kakashi pointed out. Naruto considered this scenario. I can put the same barrier as last time, besides Shino can control his bugs from inside the barrier, right? Naruto asked and Shino nodded. It's good, well then everyone stick to the plan. Tazuna, you are ready? Kakashi asked and Tazuna weakly nodded. After all, Tazuna would be bait to draw them out. Everyone started moving out and before they left Naruto gave Hinata a brief kiss while whispering, good luck, if you need me here use the ring, and Hinata nodded. On the bridge. Tazuna was approaching the bridge guarded by Kakashi, Kurenai, Naruto, Sasuke and Shino. They entered the bridge and there was already a mist in the air. Naruto discreetly activated his Sharingan while placing the usual genjutsu on it. They made their way to bridge moving as silently as possible. Well, everyone minus Tazuna who was sweating bullets and breathing hard just from fear itself. Naruto using his Sharingan could see glimpses of two chakra sources. They're already here, both Zabuza and Haku. Just about 100 meters away, Naruto said, and everyone stood in their guard. How do you know that? Kakashi asked. After all, Kakashi's sensing abilities weren't that good, and he was considering summoning one of his dogs. I'll tell you later. Can't tell with Sasuke here, Naruto whispered to his ear and Kakashi nodded. Now isn't the time for chit-chat. They continued walking until they stood a few meters from each other. Kakashi, we meet again. I'll enjoy the bounty on your head, Zabuza in a dreary voice. So many places to choose from. I can slit your throat, stab into your heart, destroy your lungs, burst your kidneys, or break your spine, Zabuza continued saying, while unleashing a lot of killer intent. Kakashi, Kurenai, and Naruto seemed immune to it, while Shino and Sasuke were sweating, and Tazuna was already in the ground as his legs gave out. Naruto saw Zabuza move from his spot, but he didn't have time to warn his team. He picked up his sword and jumped in front of Kurenai, blocking the Kubikirabacho. You're a very good kid to manage to find me, Zabuza said. Not many people manage to keep their head cool enough to think in these situations. Sometimes even Jonin would get caught. If it weren't for Naruto, Kurenai would already be dead. Say goodbye to your Miss Zabuza, Naruto said, going through a few hand signs and unleashing a gust of wind that blew the mist away, getting a frown from Zabuza. I really hate wind users, Zabuza said, shouldering his sword and getting ready for the attack. As we planned, everyone take their positions, Kakashi ordered. Why should the dope fight while me and Elite will just stand and watch, Sasuke said in his typical arrogant tone. Now is not the time, Genin, Kakashi said in a very serious tone, making Sasuke gulp. You will stay with Tazuna outside the barrier, and only jump in if Naruto needs. Are we understood? Kakashi asked and Sasuke nodded. Get ready, Kakashi said. Tazuna retreated with Shino. Naruto made 4 shadow clones that formed a square around them and said ninja art. 4 flames formation and erupted a purple barrier with Tazuna and Shino inside and Sasuke on the outside. Kakashi and Kurenai got closer, preparing to fight Zabuza, and Naruto with his sword on hand prepared to face Haku. Zabuza set a few water clones that surround Kakashi, Kurenai, and Naruto. Naruto turned to Kakashi, and he gave him a nod. Naruto disappeared in a burst of speed, and 1 second later every single clone burst into water. Looks like you found your rival in speed, wouldn't you say, Haku? Zabuza asked. It looks like that, Haku replied and dashed towards Naruto. Naruto seeing this gripped and sword tighter and started running towards Haku. They met roughly at halfway and started exchange a few blows. Neither of them gaining advantage. Naruto would easily block every single attack, however he didn't manage to land anything either. They found themselves in a standstill. Naruto was blocking Haku's kunai with his sword. Haku, seeing he had one hand occupied, starting going through single-handed hand seals, and once finished set flying water needles of death. And immediately 1,000 water needles formed from the clone's water and started raining on Naruto. Naruto seeing this knew he hadn't many options to avoid it, and decided to test his new eyes and the power he learned to use. He shifted his eyes into the Manjikyu and said Kamui, might of the gods. Naruto made his body intangible, and everyone watched in awe as well as fear, as every single needle passed give through Naruto's body, exiting the opposite side. It's not possible, Haku said. You are the Bunshin, I can feel your chakra and your sword is pressing against my kunai, she explained. Well, that's one of my most powerful jutsus, Naruto said, smirking. He used this moment of distraction, and gave a powerful kick to Haku's chest, that sent her flying and crashing into the ground near Zabuza. Zabuza was still wondering how the kid managed to do that, and also beat Haku in speed. You're really good for a genin, Zabuza said. Kakashi laughed and said, smirking, Zabuza, what if I told you that Naruto here is actually the dead last? Zabuza's eye widened. The brat couldn't possibly be the dead last. That Konohas has been seriously training their genin. Zabuza, before we begin our real fight, I have a proposition for you, Naruto said, and Zabuza raised an eyebrow. What do you want? Zabuza said, wondering what the kid meant. I heard that Gato plans to betray you once you get the job done. He plans to kill you and Haku once you kill Tazuna, so he doesn't have to pay you. So how about we join forces and kill Gato, and in return you can come back with us to the Leaf, Naruto explained, and everyone raised an eyebrow. Naruto, you just can't offer asylum to a missing nin like that, Kakashi said. Kid, you are crazy. What makes you think I would join the Leaf? Zabuza asked. I bet you are tired of all the running and having to keep looking for missions just to live. And I know the old man well enough. Both of you can be great assets to the village. Zabuza is one of the 7 swordsmen. Haku has the ice release, Naruto said, and silently Zabuza agreed. Both of them were tired of the constant running, and they wanted a place to settle down. How do you know about my bloodline? Haku asked. She didn't reveal it last time they faced each other. Did you really think we would just train well apart? Information is half the battle, so I sent a fox to spy on Gato's warehouse, and he found you training, Naruto explained, and they both scowled. A jonin getting spied on without realizing it. Be that as it may, but I still have a reputation, and in my place it's all I have. We will fight, and if Gato appears to finish me off, then we join forces, and then I'll decide if we'll go to the leaf, Zabuza said, and Naruto nodded. If Naruto was lying, which Zabuza wouldn't now, Zabuza would be destroying his reputation by betraying his client. Immediately Haku started going through hand seals and set demonic ice mirrors. All around Naruto, ice mirrors started forming, trapping him in an ice dome. Haku walked to one of the mirrors, and simply entered the mirror itself, as if she became nothing more than a reflection. Inside the ice dome, inside the dome, Naruto could see, the Kakashi and Kurenai were already engaging Zabuza. Even for both of them, Zabuza was no pushover. Naruto needed to get over with his fight, in order to go help them. Also, Sasuke was around, and he knew that, if they needed help he would jump in. Uchiha pride and all. Funny, Naruto was an Uchiha, but even though he had pride in his blood, he was never arrogant about his power. Naruto focused on his battle and noticed that every mirror around him had Haku's reflection in it. He noticed that each Haku was holding 3 senbones in each hand, getting ready to attack. Naruto's eyes widened when he realized that Haku was much faster now. If he didn't have the Sharingan to track her movements, we would need to resort to higher level attacks. Haku looked at Naruto surprised. You are the first person to ever dodge my attack when they are trapped in this jutsu, Naruto simply smirked. Haku continued a relentless assault, switching from mirror to mirror, while launching countless senbone to Naruto. This went on for a few minutes. Naruto would simply dodge all senbones without even needing his kami. How are you dodging my attacks? Haku yelled, finally losing her cool. You can't win, this jutsu spends a lot of chakra, and you already getting low, Naruto simply said. Shut up. Haku yelled and charged at Naruto as fast as she could, but Naruto's Sharingan could still follow her perfectly, and saw her every single muscle movement in slow motion as she charged. Naruto took the opportunity, and grabbed her by the hands, throwing her into one of mirrors. Suddenly near where Haku landed a kunai with an explosive tag. The tag exploded and Haku braced herself for the impact, not getting too much damage. Naruto looked to see who threw the kunai and found Sasuke inside the dome. What are you doing here? Naruto asked. I figured a dope like would need help, Sasuke said with his trademark arrogant smirk. Haku took this opportunity and threw a few senbone to Sasuke. Naruto noticed the senbone incoming towards Sasuke. Naruto didn't have enough time to reach him, so Sasuke got it by the senbone and fell limp in the ground. Naruto's eyes widened and he ran towards him. Naruto looked at him and noticed that the senbone hit his neck in a non-vital area, and using his Sharingan he noticed that his chakra network was still active, so Sasuke was probably in death-like state. Naruto decided to finish this battle and said, Fire style. Great fireball technique, and launched a fireball into one of the mirrors, seeing if it would be enough. To his surprise, the fireball impacted the mirror, but it remained there as if nothing happened. You can't defeat my technique with such low-level attacks, Haku said. Then let's take this up a notch, Naruto said, and made a single shadow clone, and both went through a few hand seals. Fire style, great dragon fire technique, Naruto said. Blind style, great breakthrough, Naruto's clone said. The combination of a B-rank fire style ninjutsu powered up by the wind jutsu, and the result was a big fire dragon rocketing towards the mirrors. Haku tried pumping more chakra to his technique, but it wasn't enough. The pressure of the dragon coupled with the tremendous heat made the ice dome explode, sending Haku crashing hard into the ground in pain with burns, and her mask cracked. Forgive me, Zabuza-sama, I cannot defeat this boy, Haku thought, coughing a bit of blood. Naruto approached Haku, still wary as she still could attack. Naruto made a few hand seals and said chakra seal, placing his hand on Haku. He blocked her chakra and tied her up with ninja wire. He went to see how the other battle was going on. Outside of Ice Dome few minutes earlier, Kakashi and Kurenai were about to face Zabuza. Kakashi pulled up in headband, revealing his Sharingan. Sharingan again? Zabuza mocked. Be proud, Zabuza, you the first enemy to ever see it, twice, Kakashi said, and started going through hand seals. Fire style. Great fireball technique, Kakashi said, and sent a fireball towards Zabuza. Zabuza didn't even budge. He went through hand signs of his own and said water style. Water wall, and created a water wall that blocked the fireball, creating a cloud of steam all around. Kakashi ran forward and engaged Zabuza on taijutsu. Wrong move, as Zabuza was stronger due to being used to use his big broadsword. Kakashi sent a low kick, making Zabuza jump up. Kakashi tried to capitalize on this with a punch, but Zabuza blocked it. Zabuza jumped back just in time to block a barrage of shuriken sent by Kurenai. Water style, water dragon, Zabuza said, and sent a big water dragon towards Kurenai. She got caught in the ground, and was sent crashing into the wall, hard disabling her momentarily. Kurenai, Kakashi yelled and made his towards her to check on her condition. When he arrived near her, she was regaining consciousness. They made up a battle plan that would end Zabuza when they heard an explosion coming from the ice dome. Naruto, they both thought. But what both and Zabuza saw was a big stream of fire coming from the dome, with Haku flying towards the ground, and Naruto simply walking out of the ice dome, now practically all destroyed. The brat managed to defeat Haku, is no ordinary genin. He must be at least Jonin to defeat Haku without getting hurt, Zabuza said, watching Naruto tie Haku up and making his way towards his battle. Need help? Naruto asked, not even slightly winded. His massive chakra reserves weren't even slightly spent, he was practically full. Sure, Kurenai got hit. Let Hat rest for a bit while she prepares, Kakashi said, and Naruto started sinking into the ground. How many jutsus does he know? Is a fresh genin, and so far, I already saw big fire style and Futen jutsus, and now low-level Doton, Kakashi thought. Something where was out of place. Zabuza had his guard up. If one thing he knew was not to underestimate the blonde kid. He manages to easily defeat Haku. Suddenly he felt a presence behind and turned, but he was too slow. Naruto emerged from the ground just behind Zabuza, and in his hand was a blue ball of chakra. Rasengan, Naruto said, slamming the blue condensed ball of chakra into Zabuza until he burst into water. Shit, what a clone, Naruto thought, and turned to see Zabuza with his sword ready to chop in half. This is the end, kid, Zabuza said, and brought his sword for a horizontal slash to chop Naruto in half. Naruto, Kakashi yelled. Naruto activated once again his Kami. He got to admit it's a kick-ass power that most likely confuses enemies to no end. Zabuza was watching as his sword was phasing through Naruto and leaving his body without a scratch. When the sword left him, Naruto gave Zabuza an uppercut and jumped back near Kakashi. Zabuza regained his balance. What the hell is that attack? Zabuza asked, getting pissed off. He never saw anything like that. That's for me to know, and for you to find out, Naruto said smugly, making Zabuza even more pissed off. Suddenly a tree started growing behind Zabuza, trapping with its branches. Tree binding death, Kurenai said, making the tree grow, and snaring Zabuza in place without chance to escape. You're too dangerous to be left alive. What I'm about to show is my own personal jutsu, Kakashi said, and started gathering a great amount of chakra in his right hand. The chakra changed into electricity until it started producing a loud sound. Kakashi dashed forward, intending to end Zabuza's life for good. Chidori, 1000 birds, he was about to slam it against Zabuza, when he heard, look at that, the demon defeat by a punk, some man said in the far side on the bridge. Kakashi stopped his assault, disabling his Chidori, and said Gato with distaste. What are you doing here, Gato? Zabuza asked, getting the impression the blonde kid was telling the truth. I'm here to kill you. You are simply too expensive when I can buy a few thugs that get the job done, Gato said, smirking, thinking he was untouchable. Surrounded by 50 thugs all equipped with weapons. Release me, we are no longer enemies. You were right, kid, Zabuza said, and Kurenai left her illusion down. Zabuza picked up his sword and was about to rush into Gato when Naruto placed a hand in front of him, making Zabuza confused. I want to try out the jutsu I've been developing, Naruto said. Hey, old man Tazuna, how are you supplies to finish the bridge? Naruto asked. I've got plenty, why do you ask? Tazuna said, getting confused. Kakashi-sensei, Kurenai-sensei, Zabuza, you are about to watch my very first creation, watch closely, Naruto said, and everyone wondered what he was going to do, even Sasuke, who just got up a few minutes ago. You really think you can defeat us all? One of the thugs said. Naruto simply smiled. Naruto brought his hands closer and slammed them against each other and started concentrating. He slightly separated his hands and started concentrating lightning chakra between them. A few seconds later, the lightning chakra started shrinking into a small perfect light blue sphere. Naruto sent the sphere into the sky, and it expanded into a flash of light, immediately gathering clouds in the sky. Thunders could be heard as the skies started to get darker and heavy rain started to fall. As the thunder intensified, everyone watched and wondered how the kid managed to make it rain without much difficulty. Is this how you are going to kill us? Rain? Gato said. Everyone thought that what he was doing failed, but Naruto simply smirked. Naruto concentrated lightning chakra in his right hand, and sent a small beam to sky, and everyone watched was a massive lightning dragon gathered in the sky, as if waiting for command of its master. Watch closely, Naruto said, and brought his hand down, commanding the dragon to attack. Lightning Kira, Naruto said. The dragon left the sky and rocketed towards Gato and the thugs with such speed that everyone only saw a glimpse of light before the bridge where Gato was exploded with tremendous force, that everyone had to gather chakra to its feet just to don't get blown away. Everyone watched in awe at the power of such jutsu. When the dust cleared, there wasn't nothing left where the thunder landed. In the place where Gato and thugs were was now a big hole. Even the bridge itself was blown to bits. So much power, Kakashi said as he watched everything with his Sharingan. That technique was easily an S rank. Maybe I should go to the leaf. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that, Zabuza thought. That power should be mine. With that I could easily defeat my brother. Yes, that power will be mine, Sasuke thought as he watched in awe the massive lightning strike. What the hell are these shinobi? They can't be human, Tazuna thought in awe and a bit of fear. Awesome, my technique worked, Naruto exclaimed happily, and everyone turned to him with theirs fixed on him. Congress Kid, Kurama said. It's over. Gato is more than dead, Kakashi said, looking at Naruto and laughed. So Zabuza, have you thought about Naruto's proposal? Kakashi asked, and Zabuza started pondering. He was tired of this life, and if went to the leave perhaps he could witness that attack once again. That lightning dragon was beautiful. I'll go with you. I'm tired of this life. Besides, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that, Zabuza said as he pointed to massive missing piece of bridge, and Naruto smirked. The way Naruto conquers, that is one powerful jutsu easily S-ranked, Kakashi said, happy that he inherited his father's talents. And the best thing is that its chakra consumption is practically non-existent, since the dragon is powered by the natural electricity of the sky, Naruto replied, and Kakashi nodded. Maybe you can teach it to me, Kakashi said. You need a very high lightning affinity, as you need to manipulate the very essence of electricity, and also manage to gather it up in the sky. But if you have, I would happily teach it to you, brother, Naruto said. Brother? Zabuza asked. We aren't really brothers, but we are close enough, Naruto said. No, but I demand you teach me that jutsu, Sasuke said, walking up to Naruto. No, Naruto simply said. What do you mean no? That power should belong to me and Uchiha Elite, Sasuke said. The reason I won't teach it to you is because you have the wrong goals. Revenge and lust for power, Naruto said, and walked off, leaving Sasuke angry. The council will heard about this, Sasuke thought. Okay everyone, let's head home. Tazuna, you can work peacefully now that Gato is dead. We will probably be a few more days since Naruto decided to blow up the bridge, Kakashi said, glaring at him. Naruto simply scratched the back of his head. Few days later, everyone was at Tazuna's place packing to leave. The bridge was complete, and the wave was starting to recover from Gato's tyranny. Haku became good friends with Naruto and Hinata, since they shared a common background. They were both hated, and chased away from what they contained, either it be a demon or bloodline. Haku recovered very well since Naruto summoned a healing fox to help her treatment. Zabuza gave Naruto a few pointers and tips on his sword style. Zabuza was surprised when he found out that Naruto was an Uzumaki, masters in the art of the sword. Kakashi was almost floored when he found out about Naruto. Flashback, everyone had arrived at Tazuna's house coming from their battle. They found it was a good idea to leave some backup in the house as two thugs attacked and tried to kidnap Tsunami and Inari. Kakashi called Naruto over, and they both went outside of the house into the woods. So, care to explain how you could see Zabuza and Haku in the mist, Kakashi said. I know I can trust Kakashi-sensei. My father never told you this. Actually, I believe he never told anyone other than my mother, Naruto said, and activated his Sharingan. Kakashi's eyes widened when he saw 3 Tomo Sharingan fire up in Naruto's eyes. How can you have the Sharingan? Neither you mother or father were Uchihas, Kakashi said. Actually, my father was an Uchiha, he just never told anyone. Did you ever wonder how could he be so fast? It's true he used the Hirshin, but a normal person without any bloodline wouldn't be able to react in time at those speeds, Naruto explained, and Kakashi asked why he never pondered that situation. So how many people know that you are an Uchiha? Kakashi asked. So far, the old man, Hinata, Shino, Kurenai-sensei and you. And I'm happy I never told anyone, since I awakened it when I was 5, otherwise, I would probably join the Uchiha clan in the grave, Naruto said, sending shivers to Kakashi. Oh, another thing, Naruto started. I kind of copied your Chidori, since lightning is my main affinity, do you mind if you use it? Naruto asked, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. I have no problem with that, besides the Chidori was created to be used in conjunction with the Sharingan, so it serves you well, Kakashi said. I wonder why sensei never told me. Kakashi wondered out loud. It's probably because of who was his father, Naruto said, and Kakashi raised an eyebrow. My grandfather was Uchiha Madara, Naruto said, and Kakashi froze hearing that name. How is it possible? Kakashi asked. Madara didn't die in his battle with Hashirama, and a few years later my father was born, Naruto said. Geez, with blood like that, and how he has known Naruto will be an extremely powerful later on, Kakashi thought. You know the council will be on your ass when they find out, right? Kakashi asked. Don't worry. I already studied politics and laws. I knew someday I would need them, Naruto said, laughing. This is the reason I asked the old man not to be on your team. I knew Sasuke would be with you so you could train his Sharingan when he awakened it, and I would someday have to use it, and I didn't want to always be covering it up with the genjutsu, Naruto explained, and Kakashi nodded. I'm just picturing the council faces when they find out, Kakashi said, laughing. Let's go home and rest. You need to work on the bridge tomorrow since you blew it up, Kakashi said, and Naruto sighed. Then flashback. Everyone from town was gathered up in the bridge saying their goodbyes to their heroes. The brave shinobi that killed Gato and freed the wave. Don't cry, Inari, I'll come visit, Naruto said. Inari simply nodded. Take care, old man, Naruto said to Tazuna. Goodbye, and don't forget to visit, Tazuna said, and everyone nodded and left towards the leaf. What should we name the bridge? One of the townspeople asked. How about the super great Tazuna Bridge? Tazuna said, and Tsunami bonked him in the head. How about the Great Naruto Bridge, since he was the one that killed Gato and convinced Inari to fight for what he wants? Tsunami replied, and everyone agreed. The Great Naruto Bridge, it is, Tazuna said, watching everyone leave Hokage's office. One day later, everyone was in the Hokage's office giving their report of the mission. Since their group was only shinobi, they managed to get back to the leaf much faster, even having to stop a few times so Sakura could rest. Naruto has the same talent as his father, the Hokage thought, reading about his lightning attack, and turned to the missing nin in the room and starting massing his temples. You give me nothing more than paperwork, Naruto-kun, the old man said. How about this? You let Zabuza and Haku join the leaf, and I tell you how to defeat paperwork, Naruto said, and, in a flash, the Hokage threw 2 headbands to Haku and Zabuza, and started shaking Naruto's shoulder, begging him to tell. Everyone watching this sweat dropped. 2 words, Naruto said, and Hokage focused on him. Shadow clone, he said. The Hokage walked calmly to his chair. He opened one drawer and took a paper that said, "Smash here." He put the paper on the table and started slamming his head, saying, "Stupid, stupid. I'll allow it, Zabuza, since you are missing nin you will have a 6-month probation period," the Hokage said, and he nodded. "Haku, since you don't have any village affiliation you can join a Genin team next graduation. How about it?" he asked. "Actually, Hokage-sama, I would like to become a combat medic. I have good knowledge of poison and medicinal plants," she said, and the Hokage pondered. "Very well, you can start in the hospital. I'll have someone teach you the basics, but you still need to be on a Genin team, and advance to at least Chunin, until you can dedicate full-time," the Hokage explained, and she nodded. Everyone dismissed, the Hokage said, and create 3 shadow clones to do paperwork. "Naruto-kun, how about I take you to Ramen?" the Hokage said, and Naruto started jumping in the air shouting, "Ramen, Ramen. This village is crazy," Zabuza said, and Haku nodded. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification, and also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.